Hi, welcome back to the Wisdom of Your Soul. I'm your host, Janice Mary, and I'm so glad you're back. It's been a very interesting couple of weeks, and I'm sure everybody's feeling the effects of this election. No matter who you wanted to win and who you wanted to vote for, it was exhausting, exciting, and a little draining. So we had plenty of opportunity to connect to our soul. I do find that anytime there are things that are going on that are stressful or that can be a little consuming, I do try to meditate and go and connect to my soul energy more. So in some ways, whatever is happening in the world helps us to reconnect, because it can be a trying time, it can be an upsetting time. So it's really good for us to have a practice where we go within and just ask for a different take on things. And it really helps with our perspective. It helps us not to get so entrenched in what is going on in the outside world that it really takes away your ability to just enjoy the moment and enjoy your day. So that is something that I really, I kind of use events, life events, world events, to help me, to remind me to connect back to that soul energy. And all you really have to do is ask for another opinion. As we talked in other episodes, connecting to your soul energy is not that difficult. It's just something that you want to become aware of. It's a gift that belongs to you, that lives within you, and is something that you can access if you practice. And anytime that you're upset, or anytime things are not going the way you want them to go in your life, that's the best time to access this wisdom, this inner guide, this inner therapist, this energy that you can consult with and help you in your life. Our world has been so crazy and so many things going on that it is a really helpful, I feel for myself, it's a very helpful coping mechanism. And that's why I like to share it, because it brings me such peace, and it brings me a different perspective, and it helps me to not get stuck in that ego mind. So I've had many opportunities to go into my soul energy these last couple of weeks. And I like to share them because it is really the struggle. It's the struggle that when we have struggles, when we do something in our lives or something happens to us that's upsetting, where does that leave us? I could see for myself, when I do or say something that I regret, or that I didn't mean, or was unintentional or reflexive, that I tend to give myself a really hard time about that. And before connecting to my soul energy, I would just stay in that. I would stay in that energy of remorse, of what I said or what I did. And it's very destructive, and it's very consuming, and it's something that I see a lot of my clients do. And I really try so hard to help them out of that, to really help them reach within, past this ego mind that can be so destructive, to help us all, see that we have a much broader perspective, that we're not so cut and dry, and we're very, very complicated. I wrote a post today on staying in the energy of your soul so that you could forgive yourself easier. So I had a situation with my daughter, and I was being critical of her, and she called me on it right away. And the criticism, how I was criticizing her, of course, as a parent, you think that you're trying to help. I'm not really criticizing you. I'm concerned for you, and I'm trying to help you. So the minute my daughter called me on this criticism of her, I got very defensive, because I work so hard not to be critical. I work so hard to be accepting of my two girls. And anytime I feel they're perceiving me as being critical, it's very upsetting to me, because I work so hard on not being critical of them. So it can make me very defensive. So the minute she, called me on what I was saying to her, I was so upset, and I was so defensive. And it took me a while to really figure out how to handle the whole situation, because usually we don't have too much of that, you know. So I took some time, and she suggested, my daughter, who's so wise, said, I want you to think about, you know, what you said, and I want you to think about why you said it, and then you can talk to me. So, you know, that's very wise for her, and I have to give her a lot of credit because she was right. And so what I did do is I took some time to go into that soul energy to kind of find out, well, what happened? You know, why was I being critical, and then labeling it as like concern? And it took me a little while to figure out, but when you go into this energy, this soul energy, you feel, first of all, you feel forgiven. That's the first thing that I feel. So the minute that I feel forgiven for what I think I did, what she's saying that I did, the minute you feel forgiven for it, then you're immediately, you know, you're not defensive anymore. You just relax into it. And that's what happens when you turn to this energy that is within you. You feel forgiven right away, and then you start to get some insight. And in this energy of forgiveness, in this energy of compassion, you can really look at what's happening. So in that energy, I was safe to explore what happened. I don't think if I was in that energy, I think I would have stayed defensive, you know, because that's just kind of where I was at. So in that energy of compassion and forgiveness, I could see that I was treating my daughter in a very similar way that I treat myself. And I have very high expectations of myself, and I generally don't put that on my kids. But my one daughter, Noelle, is very similar to me. And I guess she triggered me in the sense of that I saw her as an extension of me, which happens in parenting quite often. You have to catch it. That your children become an extension of you. So what is a no-go for you is a no-go for them. And generally I don't do that, but in this case I did. And so when I was in this energy of forgiveness and compassion for what I had said to my daughter, being critical of her, I could see that it's what I've done to myself, and it's what I learned from the world. And I could see that it really wasn't about her; it was more about me. And that I shouldn't be critical of myself, and I shouldn't be critical of her. So after I realized that, in that energy of love and forgiveness, after I realized what happened, I could really understand and talk to my daughter about it and say, you know, listen, this is what happened. You know, I was raised a certain way, and this is a belief I have about myself, and I was putting my belief on you. And the funny thing is, I don't even believe it anymore. You know, I don't even believe, you know, what I was saying, and I just reacted. So it was a really good opportunity for me to see that that the belief system of the world is in me, and you can't help sometimes getting caught up in it. You know, you can't help getting caught up in believing that you should look a certain way, you should be a certain status, you should make a certain amount of money, you should be a certain weight. All the things that the world has taught us is not easy to let go of, and sometimes comes up. And when it does come up, it's okay. I think for me, because I feel such a different voice from the soul energy, in that energy, that when I react in just a very human way, I almost am harder on myself about that, because I feel like, oh, I should know better. You know, I don't believe that anymore. How could I be so critical? But just like in everybody else, I'm human, and I have bought into a lot of the belief systems of this world, and so have you. So if you find yourself doing or saying something that you wish you hadn't, first you want to look at, do you even believe the thing that you're talking about? You know, if you're telling somebody, oh, they should, you know, that they should lose weight, or they, you know, because it's healthy for them, or whatever. And you have to ask yourself if you really believe it. And what I basically do is, in the soul energy, my belief system changes, you know. as a human person, you can have one set of beliefs, but when you're in this other energy, your belief system widens, and your belief system is much more expanded. So you get to feel different things, and that's the beauty of it, and that's why it's so helpful, because the world's belief system is very much run by the ego, and is very critical, and is very unforgiving, where the soul belief system is very forgiving and very compassionate, and doesn't believe most of the things that the world has taught us. It doesn't mean that you don't believe what the world has taught you. It's just that you have a fair amount of detachment from what the world teaches you. And once you have that detachment, then you don't really engage with the ego in the same way. The ego doesn't have as much hold on you as it used to have, when you come from this bigger perspective. And that's the transformation, and that's the shift. So you have this luxury. If you're sitting in just forgiveness and self-love and compassion, you have a luxury to really explore yourself, explore who you are, and explore your belief systems, and not to be defensive and to cut off and shut yourself down. You get to expand, and you get to see yourself in a whole different way, and you get to learn more about yourself. So that's the beauty of asking for the second opinion of your soul. You get to learn a lot about you in a very healthy, helpful way. So during these last couple weeks of the election, when things were upsetting and all kinds of things going on, it threw me back into my soul energy, and having some conflicts with my daughter, that threw me back into my soul energy, and that's really helpful. It's really helpful. So if we look at things that are bothering us that we can't let go of, or things that hurt us, or we feel upset about ourselves, if we go into this energy of this bath of love, compassion, and forgiveness, and you just visualize that, the next time you have a problem, just take a bath in forgiveness and compassion. And once you do that, you will feel more of that soul energy that I'm talking about, and you will feel it to be extremely enjoyable. And very present. You're very present. You're not thinking so much. You're just in this beautiful, floaty kind of energy that kind of just takes your breath away. It's a beautiful, beautiful energy. It's the same energy that psychics and mediums go into when they're, connecting to the other world. So it makes you very intuitive. It makes you very psychic, and it's very, very enjoyable. So use this time, to connect, and get the benefit of that. Especially if you're the type to be extremely critical and harsh on yourself, like I was. Be really determined to get to know, this inner self that I'm talking about. Don't allow the ego to take over, and don't allow the ego to run your life and make your day miserable. I mean, I see so many of my clients that one thought just will ruin their entire day. And that used to happen to me all the time. It doesn't anymore, because if that starts to happen, I will go right into that energy so that I can prevent it from taking over too much of my time. But in the beginning, it was probably a little harder when I wasn't used to it. So you have to just keep encouraging yourself to take a moment to meditate, take a moment to, listen to a meditation on YouTube, or just to be silent, to tell the ego that you'll get back to it, to put it on the shelf. Do anything and everything you can to get back into that flowing energy, because it is in that energy of forgiveness and warmth and love that you'll find the answers to problems, and you'll find a different perspective of you, and in that perspective, it will transform you and change you and help you in your life. It'll help you to get on your path, the path that you really want to be on, not the path that you think you should be on. The ego would have us on one path, and the soul will have us on a completely different path. And the soul's path is much, much more enjoyable. It's a path that is very life-bringing and simple and easy, and you don't have to give it too much thought. So it can sound a little crazy, like, well, how can I connect to something that's so beautiful like this? But you can, because it lives within you, and it really is who you are. Your soul energy is who you are, is you. It's you. It's just a part of us that we don't often connect to, because we're so connected to the ego and this world, and we're so busy. We're so busy in this world, and that's not a bad thing. But if you are struggling, if you're having a hard time, if you're having anxiety, if you're down on yourself, if you're upset by the election, that it's a perfect time to really seek this energy inside of you for comfort and peace and wisdom. And this energy will help you through any problem, any health issue, anything that you have to go through. It will help you through it. And it's such an enormous sense of comfort. As I've spoken before, it's like having, an angel sitting next to you. It's like having the best therapist sitting next to you, or, having Sigmund Freud next to you, or anybody else that you admire, or is your role model, having them right with you, holding your hand and helping you through the most difficult time. And that lives right within you. So, we're always seeking outside of ourselves. I was always seeking in books and other people, and for all this wisdom and for help, and, how do I help myself? How do I improve myself? I was definitely on that self-help bandwagon. And that doesn't mean that I don't continue to learn and read now. I do. I just know that the place that I should consult first is within me. And if I want to listen to other people's wisdom, that's great too. But that I know that the first stop should be me, and consult that inner wisdom that lives within me, because that inner wisdom really does have the perfect answer for me. It may not be perfect for you, but it's perfect for me. So the wisdom that lives within you, from the time that you were born, and knows every aspect of you, and knows what you've been through, knows who you are, knows your personality, knows all the nuances of you. That's your soul energy, knows every aspect of you. And in a positive way. It's never negative. It's always highlighting the beauty in you, and all the things that you've done right, living in a very, very difficult world. That's what the soul does. The soul doesn't highlight anything negative. So if you're trying to connect to the soul energy, and you're doing a meditation, and you feel like you're hearing nothing but, you should be doing this and you should be doing that, you really are just connected to the ego. You're not connected to this other energy. And this other energy, there's not a lot of thought, a little bit of thought, but not a lot of thought. And it's just very pleasurable, and has a lot of information to share with you. So I would just keep encouraging you to try to get your second opinion. First opinion is always the ego first. Second opinion is this energy that lives within you, this treasure that lives within you. And I know it has transformed my life, and continues to. And every time, something happens that is upsetting to me, I just go right into that energy and feel the wisdom that I need to hear and know. And most of it is very simple. Most of it is, you just got scared, so you reacted. You're believing a thought that isn't true, that's the kind of wisdom that will come to you. But when you're, in a really bad place, and you really feel that from another place inside of you, when you really feel all is forgiven, you haven't done anything wrong, you're just like everybody else, you can't be perfect, it's okay to make mistakes. When you really feel that on that level, it is transforming, and it isn't something that you have to convince yourself, and it's not something that you have to try. You just go into it. So it's like you're going into your thoughts when you're thinking, and you're allowing the ego to take over. And then when you're considering going into the soul energy, just going into that energy very easily, very naturally. You know how to do it. It's what we do when we're in spirit. So you intuitively know how to go into your own soul energy. So just ask to be guided. Give yourself 5 minutes a day and ask to be guided into this energy. And it will transform your life, and it'll transform your world. It'll broaden your world. The ego makes our world very, very small, and the soul just makes it expansive and huge. So give yourself that opportunity to experience that. So, and use all the moments in life to bring you there. And there are certainly going to be many, as there are many in my life. So when things are not feeling good, and when you're having a hard time and people are not happy with you, that's the time to go into this energy and to feel what this energy has to say to you about you. And you'll be pleasantly surprised that it's just filled with love for you and guidance for you, compassion for you, and forgiveness for you. So give it a shot. As always, you can reach me at janismart40@yahoo.com. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Enjoy this day. Be in the moment with your soul, and just have a soul-centered day. Take care. Bye-bye.